A couple of exercises for hip mobility that might be very nice to release lower back if there's any pain in the lower back. Number one, you can find kind of a side seat like that when you bring your right foot into the inner line of your left hip. And if this is uncomfortable because of a number of reasons, you can also use a block to sit on. This might be a nice way to modify it, or you can sit higher if you need to. If this is okay though for the knees, then this is where you begin, and you lean your way forward, and then as you exhale you rise up and pull your inner thighs together, activate your inner thighs, and exhale, and then inhale, sit back. And you can do it a few times on one side. Use your candle's breath as you exhale. Use your inhale to sit down and exhale to stand back up. And you, as if pulling the knees together, you're trying to activate those inner thighs through the action of as if pulling the knees back towards the midline. And you will feel the pull in the inner thighs, but also maybe a gentle lift in the pelvic floor muscles. And you would do 4 or 5 on one side. And then you, of course, switch the sides and do the same thing on the other side. And if you need to modify anything on this side, maybe on the other side you didn't need a block to sit on, but on this side the knee is uncomfortable, whichever knee is might not feel comfortable in this position, then you modify. So that's exercise number 1 for your inner thighs activation on your pelvic floor. And it helps to relieve the lower back pain, like I said earlier. Another exercise that might be also instrumental in relieving a lower back pain is somewhat of a hamstring helper. So we're strengthening the hamstring in this exercise, and strengthening the glutes and hamstrings helps to relieve lower back. So you bring the blocks at the highest setting. If you need to pad the back knee, then you use a soft cushion or anything you have at home to, if you have a sensitive knee. Otherwise, just find your low lunge and use the highest setting of your blocks. And then as you exhale, tuck your tail under gently. And you can do a few times just tucking and untucking without, as you can see, it's not a big move. It's just moving the pelvis from tilting, forward tilt, into the posterior tuck. And then maybe the lower back lengthens a little bit with this tucking. And so first you do just a couple of rounds like this, tucking and untucking, or tilting and tucking. And then you start noticing that when you tuck, you feel the activation in the glute and you feel the activation in the hamstring on this front leg. So if you have your right foot forward, then it's your right hamstring and your right glute that become activated as you tuck your pelvis. And as you untuck, you can relax. So if you want to make it bigger, then you would look something like this. But it doesn't have to be anything bigger than what I showed you in the beginning. The activation is in the glute and in the hamstring. To make it more prominent, you can drive this front heel deeper into the mat. You really press into the heel of the front foot, not the whole foot, but just the heel. Maybe even lift the toes if that helps. If that helps you. And by pressing into that heel, you will feel more activation, more strength being generated in the hamstring and in the glute on this side. And then again, tilting the pelvis or untucking the pelvis as you inhale and relax here. And as you exhale again, drive the heel down, scissor the hips, right hip back, left hip forward, scissor them towards the midline. Feel how the hamstring and the glute become active. And then of course after 4 or 5 on one side, you switch the sides and you do the same thing on the other side. Starting small, just you can stay on your knees without moving the hips anywhere, just tilting and tucking, tilting and tucking your pelvis. Find that sensation in your pelvis, in your hips. And then maybe you can make it a bit bigger. Maybe you sink a little bit lower when you tilt the pelvis forward, and as you tuck the pelvis, you really round slightly in your lower back and lift the toes, drive the heel deeper into the mat, and feel the activation now on your left hamstring and your left glute. And you can go through this exercise again a few rounds, pause the video, take as many rounds as you like. If you need more than 4 than 5, then do more, and practice is yours. And then the next exercise is going to be from your seated position. It starts just as windshield wiper, bringing the knees down to one side and then the other. And maybe that action alone is already generating a pleasant sensation in the lower back, a certain sense of release. How I like to add on to this is when the knees come to the left, lift your right arm up, cross it over, and reach back, lengthening the right side of your lower back. This is a very nice stretch for the lower back and the whole side body on the right. And then as you bring the knees to the right, and then you reach your left arm over, up and over, and reach it back. And you can go into a deep twist, or you can go into less of a twist. It's really up to you how deep you go. But you move side to side like this, lengthening the lower back. You can even round the spine if you like. The goal is to bring length to your lower back. And do again as many reps as it feels good to you.